been releasing music under my own name for a number of years. And in 2018 or 19, I released a single, and that was celebrated by my friend Mo, who celebrated it by posting some old original Rays footage onto Facebook. In Mo's inimitable style, the way he posted it was to play the old VHS tape on his TV and hold his cell phone up to it to post that to Facebook Live. I knew he had this footage, and I've been after it for years. So I finally convinced him to let me digitize it, because those tapes weren't going to last forever. So I'm digitizing this stuff, and it's a real-time process. And the way the tapes would stick and speed up and slow down, you have to do it several times to be able to splice something together to be usable. And I realized some of this is really viable. Somebody should do something with this. And I don't know any organizers as effective as me. And as stubborn as me. So I called Rachel Cleary and Jeannie Fry, two acquaintances, friends, whom I thought would be interested in helping me create a little DIY situation. We would interview a few of the people, maybe throw something together for you.
What year are we talking about here?
2020.
Okay, go ahead.
And then it just started to snowball. The more we discovered, the more viable it seemed to become a big project. And then I decided it was too big for us to do, so I started looking for other talent. And I placed a Craigslist ad for an editor. And I got about 40 responses. Interviewed about 4 people, and one of them argued with me. And she got the job.
Great, good for her.
She gave me a better idea as to how to do it, so we did it. Meet Leah Komakides. Moving from an editor into a director.
Great. So, what was specific about this whole idea that really, entranced you or spoke to you?
Yeah, so when I first read the ad, first of all, thank you everyone. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And when I first read the ad, Michael was describing a dive bar from Brooklyn and the scene that was formed there. So I really love music and I love stories behind the music. So I was immediately intrigued. And when I saw Michael, he gave me some of the footage to take a look. And I remember it was Frank's Museum, the first performance there I saw, also from other Bowstring, Chemical Wedding, and also Bob Rasiopoulos' interview. And so these performances gave me so much energy. And Bob Rasiopoulos' interview was actually my favorite interview because he talks about so many things. He talks about what the scene was like, what the booking was like, what the bar was like, but he also talks about what Brooklyn was like at the time.
Yeah.
So it was very informational. So
It's
all this
the soul of Brooklyn.
The soul of Brooklyn, yeah. And all these performances, all this energy that came from the performances and combined together with some interviews, I was immediately, I thought that I want to do it. So then Michael also invited me to his performance, so I saw him live. And Michael also did a great job of making me familiar to the scene. So he was part of the scene, so he was always familiar. But for me, it wasn't. I was already watching the footage and everything, but sometimes he would call me and tell me, hey, Squirrels from Hell are playing some more, maybe we'll go together and see them. Bob Rasiopoulos is playing some more, maybe we'll go and see them. And we also had a fundraising event where I actually saw many of his bands performing.
Okay.
And I was actually, after some time, I was feeling very connected with the scene. And
So in terms of, obviously there's an incredibly strong sense of community around this venue, but in the film, how conscious were you of telling a collective story rather than focusing on one particular band or, a particular 2 or 3 bands from the scene?
no, it's not two or three. We, yes, it depends what footage you have. There were many bands which we didn't have footage.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, we needed to focus on the bands that we had no footage of, we had interviews of, and so on. But we tried to, since it was community, I really wanted that people could see as much as possible all of them and kind of get whole sense of the city. Yeah.
So in terms of, this is for both of you, in terms of like the venue, like obviously there's a character in the films at least. But like, how did you approach like bringing the venue, you know, to life, especially with limited archive?
For me, it was through the interviews, because people's memories, to some degree, of the physical place, but more of their experiences and their emotions from their experiences in that place. That's what I carry with me.
Where you come across?
Good, because, well, that's because we have a bunch of performers who are in those interviews, and these are people who really know how to express their emotions.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're really, really fortunate to have you guys in the film.
Yes, absolutely. What do you think of it, like, what made the venue itself, like, in that period, time period here, such a catalyst for what was it? Excuse me, sorry about that, guys. I'm only focused on the guys in the first 3 rows there, excuse me. Sorry, what, like, in terms of the venue, what was it that made it such a catalyst for creativity?
Just the fact that we all came together there. I mean, dive bars, you feel like there aren't a lot of rules.
Sure.
So
There shouldn't be.
as musicians, you get to break the rules.
Yeah.
And one of those rules was that you're supposed to compete against each other.
Absolutely.
And we got to bounce off each other and work with and learn from each other and play with each other. You know, that just juiced that creativity so much.
Yeah.
There are times when being a musician feels like work. And it really never felt that way at Lauterbach's, because there are times when I would go on acoustic night and I'd end up playing in the Jake Rancher Root Quartet. Somebody would give me a guitar and say, go up there with Deke. And we would, you know. There were times when the show was over and we'd sit at the bar and jam out to Beatles music, you know, and watch Bob just crying with pleasure because this is what he had always hoped for.
Right.
You know, it fostered creativity because we felt like there were no rules.
And in terms of no rules, like, how did you pull together an edit that kept it down to like 90-ish minutes? Because I'm sure this could have been a 4-hour documentary.
Can you repeat the question?
So in terms of like, you know, locking it down to a 90-minute edit, because the story's going to go on for 5 hours, like, how did you pick and choose between, you know?
Yeah, it was long. It was a complex process. First of all, I call it like whenever you're editing a documentary and you have archival footage, interviews, photos, different videos, you simply have to, I call it, you have to know everything by heart. Almost.
Sure.
Yeah.
You gotta be
So
immersed
that
in it.
whenever you're then making the story arc, so that you know, remember exactly what comes up to what. So our first cut was, I think, 120 minutes. Yeah, that was our first cut. But
Yeah.
after that, many things came up. Many things became clearer. We had more clear picture of what we wanted, and after that, we did some more filming, and then we narrowed it down to what we have now, 90 minutes. Yeah, but it was a long process.
I'm sure. How long was the editing process, just for reference, James? Like over a year, more or less?
So I met Michael about 2 years ago. But first we edited the trailer.
Yeah.
Then we edited
You
the
did a great job.
pilot, like 10 minutes. I would call it pilot.
Yeah.
There's no sense of what the movie can be about. And then we started editing the movie, and in about 3 months we had I also, we were not working because I also have other jobs and I also have other projects, but
Sure.
I would sometimes take months off from all of my jobs and focus on editing. And I think in 3 months, 4 months we had first cut, and then it was after a year we had the final cut.
Was there anything in terms of editing? I know it's an incredibly painful process when you're dealing with such a collaborative effort, and maybe you always got to cut something that hurts.
Yes,
Was there anything
that's true.
particular that you would love to have included that is obviously going to be included in the DVD extras, but you couldn't put it in the main feature?
That kind of depends on the distribution deal.
Sure.
Some of the interviews, in fact, many of the interviews that we conducted that didn't make it into this cut of the film were so brilliant and so funny.
I can
There were
imagine.
little technical problems. There was lighting problems or
Yeah.
sound problems, and
Yeah.
we just couldn't redo them to fit them into the film. But, you know, if we make money off of this version of the film, then we'll be able to invest in the technology to clean that stuff up to make, you know, a miniseries. Wouldn't that be
Absolutely.
great for Netflix to pick up a miniseries?
Well, yeah, we gotta get you guys behind it to make that happen. Yeah. Okay, listen, enough for me for the moment. I got a few more questions, but I don't want to hog the scenes. So, who's got a question?
Can I interrupt?
Over.
Before we go on to more questions, I need to run through the list. I need to thank Leah, of course.
Absolutely.
We're gonna have to hold her applause to the end because this is a long list. We have Rachel Cleary and Jeannie Fry and Ruth Callum and Ash Shawari, the other partners in BFD, the Brooklyn Film Directorate. There's Sal Cataldi, who's helped us out so much. Kay Adams, Johnny Rosenblatt. Mo, of course, for starting this whole thing off, most of all, my wife, the lovely and talented Karen,
Give it up for Karen!
who has put up with this film for 6 years. Everybody who sat for interviews, everybody who contributed photos, everybody who contributed money to our fundraiser, this is for you. Thank you.
Well done. Okay. Has anybody got a question for the guy? Yes, okay. Do we have a roaming mic anywhere? Or okay, you know, vocalize.
No problem. I'm from Brooklyn.
Nice one. Nice one.
So, no. Okay.
Let's have it.
So here's my question. What happens next?
Good
I
question.
want to be reborn in Flanders. I'd like to do everything that ever was done. There you go.
Why not?
Next is hopefully London.
Okay.
Screening in London, and next is for all you guys to go downstairs and buy a T-shirt and a poster.
And hang out at the bar and let's have a fucking conversation.
With,
And
those,
chat.
with the proceeds from this screening, we hope to pay for the license fees that we have on some of the material in this film, so that we can finally release it commercially.
Absolutely.
Which really enhances our distribution opportunities if we don't have that stuff hanging over our heads. But there are plenty of projects that among the 6 of us we've been bandying about, and we'll land on one. With this material, like I said, there is, from the beginning, there's been the idea of something of a mini-series to take deeper dives into each of the bands. Keep in mind, there are 33, 34 bands that appeared on Brooklyn Beat compilations before the one we released today. Okay, and the original 7 compilations, there are 33, 34 bands. We had maybe a dozen of them in this film. You know, so there's so many deep dives, and we only focused on the bands for people we could get interviews with and had decent footage of. You know, more research, more time could get us more material or more stuff. Wouldn't you say? Yeah.
Great question. Nice one. Go for it.
If, now that you've seen this on the screen with all of us in the audience and you've heard the reaction, is there any part of this version that you think you may have to edit further or modify before you get to the next version?
That time Mo, get rid of him.
Yeah, it's a loser.
The words I know.
They're boring.
Honestly, Chris, that's a brilliant question because there was one piece that came to mind. You're gonna laugh. It's in the credits. It's not traditional, but the memoriam section,
Oh, yeah.
I think, should come earlier in the credits.
Yes.
Because by the time you get through all of the credits and you get to the memorials, people have lost interest. And to me, that's among the most important part of the film.
Yeah, fair enough.
Did you have any other ideas?
No.
Yeah, before the credits roll, we love the whole thing.
Michael, can you talk about the release for today too, the music release?
Oh, okay, we referenced several times that between 89 and 93, 94, there were 7 compilation albums that came out of the Brooklyn Beat group. And today, for the first time in that many years, a new compilation album has been released, curated by someone I know quite well. It's called Brooklyn Beat Evolution Now. You can find it on all the streaming services downstairs at the merch table. You will find cards with a little QR code that takes you to CD Baby. I don't think it takes you to the streaming services, but we produced it through Lander and CD Baby, and I believe they have launched it to all the main streaming services: Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, YouTube Music, etc. I think there's like 30 different. So check it out. You can buy it, you can stream it, you can share it. It makes a terrific gift for Memorial Day. Mother's Day. It's a great Mother's Day gift. Think about it. We are old.
Yeah. Okay, who else is willing to ask a question?
Yo,
Go for it.
yeah, two quick ones. Number one, was there a house drum kit and maybe bass amp at the club? Because that would be a nightmare to bring shit down to.
Big time.
It looked
There was never a back end. There was never a back end.
never a back end.
No back.
Okay.
They have a PA system. That's about it.
Awesome.
It was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it looked like yeah. So there's a picture. There's a picture that was used several times of Catfish playing accordion and Frank and Rossi, and
Yeah, the accordion was part of the back line.
it looked like it looked like this absolutely, and it was used several times as a still several times in the film. Does anybody remember what beautiful magic was going on during that time?
Quite likely during the, I think it was Wednesday night acoustic sessions, because we had some raucous times during that stuff. I referenced sitting at the bar with acoustic guitars, jamming on Beatles music. That's when that sort of thing would happen, because, Wednesday at school night, we would finish the sets early, and then, the bunch of us would still be sitting around wanting to play. So, fun. We don't use the stage, and we don't use the PA system, and we just goof off acoustically. So Wednesday night,